Cars are amazing.
I also like cool cars. Well, if I do say so myself, I do dabble in the gas vehicle, if you will. I do drive here and there. I mean, if I would prescribe, then I do agree that having a car is what you would say masculine by nature. But however, the idea.
I'm curious to see what Bot Shapiro thinks. Bot Shapiro, here's what I actually think of Andrew Tate. Well, you know, he is right about a lot. He is right about a lot. And Ben Shapiro, if you watch this, I understand that this chat is going to look bad. You're going to get it. But it's all jokes. Everybody on Rumble's trolling. We love you, Ben. L'chaim.
So I have a lot of younger listeners who are big fans of Andrew Tate, who really enjoy Andrew Tate. Now, the big news over the course of the last couple of weeks is that Andrew Tate, for those who don't know, Andrew Tate is a very online guy who was a lightweight kickboxing champion, I believe, and he's become big in the so-called manosphere. He was banned from YouTube, I believe. He was banned from Twitter, and he was banned from these things because he was a self-described misogynist, right? Somebody who believes that men are superior to women in pretty much...
Nope, never said he was a self-described misogynist. He never described himself as that. He said that women and men have important roles. Bot Shapiro, I wanted to defend you, and you're already lying on my... Oh.
Every possible way. Well, over the last couple of weeks, he got in an online fight with Greta Thunberg in which he was tweeting at her about how he had Bugattis and lots of gas guzzlers, and he was heating up the climate.
Come on, Bot Shapiro. I know you know the truth about climate change. Thank you, Chili Lizard. Between the Tate's Fresh and Fit and you, I've been doing at least 30 push-ups, lunges, and crunches. Never felt better and positive about myself since forever. Thank you. But the bots won't talk about that. They won't talk about the positive effect. They'll just try to paint you as a violent misogynist, and it's a very effective tactic to cancel you.
And then she tweeted back at him that he had a small dick. It was all very silly. And then one day later, he ended up being arrested by Romanian authorities. And the allegations against Andrew Tate is that he was engaging in sex trafficking. According to the New York Post, police in tactical gear descended on a villa where Andrew Tate and brother Tristan were staying Thursday to detain the British brothers on kidnapping and rape charges, judicial sources told Romanian outlet Libertatea. The video shows the officers with battering rams and guns sweeping through the dark villa before escorting Tate into a car. The brothers in April had allegedly detained two young women, one with American citizenship and one Romanian, inside the villa against their will, where they were subjected to physical violence and mental coercion, according to the authorities. Police said the Tates allegedly formed an organized crime group and sexually exploited women by forcing them to perform pornographic demonstrations for the purpose of producing and disseminating through social media platforms. The brothers had been questioned for 5 hours by the police back in April, but were released at the time. And then they are currently still being held in Romania right now. Now, Tate had predicted for a long time this would happen to him. He had predicted that people were going to come after him, that they were going to arrest him. Does that mean that he's not guilty of something? I have no idea. I have no idea whether he's guilty of these crimes. It could be trumped up. It could be the Romanian authorities who are embarrassed by Tate. It could be anything. I don't place a lot of stake in the law-abiding nature of the Romanian authorities. I literally know nothing about how the law... I mean, Andrew Tate literally said he moved to Romania in order to avoid law enforcement. I don't know whether that's true or whether that's not. I assume all of that will come out in the wash. The thing I want to focus on is the popularity of Andrew Tate for a moment. And it's fascinating because, again, I have a lot of young listeners who are interested in the stuff that Andrew Tate says. The reason they're interested in the stuff that Andrew Tate says is because he's transgressive. He's transgressive in that he says things that no one else will say. Some of the stuff that he says is frankly terrible, and some of the stuff that he says is not terrible. Some of the stuff that he says is actually a version of truth. I mean, when he says that promiscuity is generally a bad thing, he says it only among women. Or he says when he says promiscuity for women is a bad thing. That used to be a relatively uncontroversial thought, but it's been considered bad to say that now. It's wrong. It's banned. Now we live in a moment because we are so censorious online and sort of in the political world. We're so censorious. The Overton window has shrunk so much. There are two concepts that have been crimped. One is truth, as in like Pope Benedict XVI truth, right? Things, eternal things of value that you're not supposed to say anymore. A man is not a woman. Men should marry women, should have kids, right? These are things that are now considered very controversial in the elite circles of the West. You're not supposed to say any of those things. So truth, like capital T, long-standing truths, these things have been denied. And then there's also been stuff that's been denied that's just kind of garbage, like stuff that's not nasty to say or yucky. What's been crimped is courage, right? People are afraid to say the truth, and they're also afraid to say their opinion because they lack courage, because the social sanctions are so strong.
Pussies.
And so because the social sanctions are so strong, and because they go beyond just crimping the truth, they go to crimping pretty much everybody's feeling that they can even say anything, their opinion, joke. Because of all of that, courage is now held in higher value than truth itself. But sometimes the person who's drawing the most flack is what they're saying is actually kind of bad, right? So
what do you say that's bad?
The problem for Andrew Tate, and the reason why he's become so popular, is because he's very transgressive. He says the thing that no one else will say. say. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's really not good.
Really? What was the most controversial thing he said? Women can't drive? Think about it. What's the most controversial compared to Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro blew up saying that debating woke college kids in 2016, saying that men can't become women and that you have a mental illness. Was that any more controversial than what Andrew Tate said? People are just more threatened by him because he's a bigger dude and is a former kickboxer. So the idea that he's a violent misogynist, that lie is so much easier to believe by the bots compared to somebody like Bot Shapiro. Bot Shapiro, when he says, my wife's pussy's perfectly dry, everyone could just laugh at him and then they don't feel threatened watching him. They don't cancel him.
Look at some of the things Andrew Tate says because, again, he's a very popular figure, particularly with young men. And when people ask me about Tate, one of the things that I've said this to some teenage boys who are friends of the family. They asked me about him like a week ago. What I said is some of the diagnoses that Andrew Tate has of secular society are correct. His prescriptions are largely incorrect. The things that he puts, he has a list of rules, and many of the rules that he puts online are actually pretty good.
The 41 tenets.
And then
see, all the people that hate him should take time and look at the 41 tenets of Tateism to see what his core beliefs really are. And he really makes it public what he stands for, what he believes in. So does Ye. The people that I listen to, they stand for something, right? Doesn't mean you have to agree with all of it, but they actually have a core philosophy. And I asked on the Bradley Martin podcast that Ethan Klein called me out on, said I'm demented, said I'm a violent misogynist, said I'm a piece of shit loser. I asked him, what do you stand for? And he didn't know. Guy in his 40s, he has children, a father, doesn't know what he stands for. He creates content as a podcast, speaks to people, to thousands of people. He's losing a lot of subscribers, but he has a large audience and he doesn't know what his core philosophy is. Pay close attention to those people, because are they really trying to inspire or are they just making noise? Are they just part of the social media bubble? Because if we can all admit that the social media bubble is bad at its core, the ideas they're trying to purport, how it makes you addicted, how they want you to stay on there forever. If you can agree with that, I think most people will. Then the people who stand for nothing and utilize social media, you should not listen to them.
The way that he acts, right? His version of masculinity, which is have a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women, live in a castle with 30 Bugattis, put pictures online and muscle put, like this kind of stuff. That's not the traditional.
A lot of that is marketing. And see, the bots like him, they see the cars, they see the mansion, they're like, oh, you think I should just be rich? What? That's marketing. It's good for Instagram. It's good for the aesthetic. The core idea is that you should get rich and you should get out. But people, like, they get really triggered by the imagery because a lot of people feel threatened by stuff like that because they know and accept the fact that they will never get there. Chat, I think me and you should agree that we want to get there.
No mark of masculinity. What Pope Benedict
Yo, L. Brett Cooper. Brett. Why'd you put a yarmulke on, Brett?
16th would say, what I would say, what sort of members of the traditional wisdom cadre would say is that the ultimate in manliness is get married, protect your family, provide for your kids and your family, provide a space for them to grow in safety and security, provide them roles and responsibilities. This is the role of a man.
Which is, I am 100% sure he would agree with. And also, why do you think, Chad, that Ben Shapiro won't debate Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes is 24, and Ben Shapiro regularly dunks on these college kids. Why can't he debate Nick Fuentes?
What a man does. What Andrew Tate focuses mainly on is the critique of how society has undermined a lot of this stuff. And then his prescription is, I'm going to put a picture of myself online with like 30 cars and it makes me look cool, makes me look masculine. Hey, I also like cool cars. Cool cars are amazing.
I also like cool cars. Well, if I do say so myself, I do dabble in the gas vehicle, if you will. I do drive here and there. I mean, if I would prescribe, then I do agree that having a car is what you would say masculine by nature. But however, the idea,
because we have lost eternal truth, because we have decided as a society the eternal truth has to go. The backlash is not coming in the form of a restoration of eternal truth. Very often the backlash is coming in the form of punch the people in the face who destroyed the eternal truth. That's the society in which we're living. And I'm afraid that could get worse unless what we actually have is a return to some eternal truth. So here's a couple of clips of Andrew Tate, and it kind of shows you what I'm talking about, that some of what he's saying is kind of half correct, but he's saying it in such a way
because that's how you blow up, Chad. It is true, but there's a part of it that is supposed to trigger people who don't get it. And Bot Shapiro is one of those people, you just don't get it. You think that you're against it, like I'm fighting the culture war because I talk about trans people. You don't, well, I like cool cars too. It's not for you. It's supposed to be shock jock by nature because an element of it is supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to make people like you upset. Let's see if the clip is exactly what I say.
That is meant to draw fire. So here is Andrew Tate talking.
Just because it's meant to draw fire doesn't mean it's incorrect.
About women belonging to men.
Just a clip from Barstool.
I don't know because
Yep, this one, they love to clip this one up. And this was like the end of Andrew being facetious and being, ever since he went on to talk with Dave Portnoy, he had to switch it up and he had to be a little bit like Bot Shapiro. And you could see I'll play this clip, but did you see what I posted on Twitter today? Actually, I posted on Rumble too. I want to play. So Andrew gave me advice back in Romania, and I posted on my Rumble channel. He gave me advice that I think could be applied exactly here, that you need to play the game in order to last, because this was literally the day before I was canceled. He told me, you can't, when you get to a certain level of fame, you need to switch up your message because it's going to make people upset.
They put me on a list?
Your sponsored post?
For what? I'm a white supremacist?
yeah. Bro, you didn't think you were on a list? You're on a list, G. You must have known this.
How can I be a white supremacist? I'm not even white.
It's not about white supremacy. You're on just the crazy YouTube people list. Is he, does he have to go?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, they ban you and everything else.
That's your fault. Are you laughing like it's not your fault?
Bro, you just said I 10 times your income. That's also my fault. So you can't complain that much. So that's what happens when you dance with the devil. You get good and bad. There's every cloud has a silver lining.
You're not the devil. Hillary Clinton's the devil. Don't say that.
Well, that's true. But what I would say, my unofficial advice to you is just say the same shit, but just from a different angle. Not bitches are bad, more dudes are lonely. Dudes, that's how I started changing it, and that helped me loads.
You don't think it's too late?
I don't think it's too late, but I think they're watching you very carefully. What I have to do now is, because like Tucker Carlson invited me back, I said no. Alex Jones invited me back, I said no. I have to be careful. You have to play the game. If you align yourself with...
You have to play the game. When you get to a certain level, optics are very, very important. You have to be careful about who you talk to, who you spend time with. You got to be careful about what people are saying in the chat. Everything is being scrutinized in every second. You have to play chess.
With the people who are the true enemy to the establishment, they're just never going to let you back.
Yeah.
So my view is very much, and if you watch my podcast, I'm very careful with saying, I believe that social media companies react to public sentiment and
Top G
they're
sold
fair.
out.
I haven't sold out at all.
Play the game.
Yeah, but
Can't do Alex Jones.
You have to play the game.
But it is true, because if you own a privately held company and you have some dude on your platform that you don't know,
You will sit on YouTube and literally say, fuck YouTube.
you literally
Suck my dick, Susan.
And bro, I don't agree with you. It's that,
you gotta play.
I should have... Well, this wasn't posted, but that attitude is what got me banned, just being completely anti-establishment, not switching up at all.
Play the game.
Susan, I love you, Susan. You have a great platform.
There you go.
You can say the same shit.
Way to go, bro.
You just got to say it a slightly different way.
You know I just got banned on TikTok at the
When my
dinner?
dad left, I was watching him smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
My dad didn't leave for cigarettes. My dad left
Okay.
for
How much do you care about making money and how much do you care about waking people up?
That's a good question. When the camera's off, I'll tell you.
Turn it off.
Free Andrew, free Tristan, and they'll be vindicated, bro. Oh, God, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm trying to talk about big issues. I'm trying to talk, and there's fucking simps in the chat. This dude has literally given me like $50, $60 just to talk about one girl that he's never gonna see in his whole life. Like, you make the soy boys look good, a lot of people in here. And I understand the red pill rage when you don't get any women, the incel rage, like you being a lonely fucking loser where the only attention you could talk to is OnlyFans online, but you make it look bad for all of us. And Rumble right now has the potential this year to become the best website on the internet. And people like you, because you're so lonely and you've never touched a woman, genuinely, you make it look bad for people, for everybody else in here who's enjoying the stream. You have to interrupt it and tell everybody, I'm a loser. I don't touch women. I'm sad. Thank you for your money. Bro, can you actually type in the chat so I can ban you? Because if he would type in the chat for real, I could just ban him. But Rumble, like, there's no moderation system. I just let it go. Here we go. Let's see. But this is what he said on Barstool. Andrew was still in the character, not a character, but still speaking to that masculine imperative that we all know, that we all have, but we're supposed to silence.
because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's given over
that's
to the
inherently where you get called sexist.
No, it's not. Well, you can call me sexist if you want, but if you look at marriage, it's the bride's father who gives her away. It's not the groom's father.
In
Is
old
it?
tradition.
The woman is always given over to the man. Read the Bible, read the Quran, you can go to
You're walking down the aisle, no chance. There's like African cultures where they don't do that.
I'm sure there are some obscure tribes somewhere. I mean, I can't say I'm not a professional.
But you get it. You seem like a very smart guy.
Understand
you
why
seem like a
would
smart
say
guy.
that.
You're saying a woman is the property of a man if they're dating.
I'm not saying they're a property. I'm saying they're given to the man and they belong to the man. It doesn't mean they're a pure property without emotion.
What's wrong with that? Like, to this day, women like to hear that. When you say it out of context and when you say it on a microphone, XQC will be like, when he says the word obey, it triggers me, obey. But if you say to a woman's face, like a woman that's in love with you, say, you belong to me, she's going to go, ah! She loves that. If you're going to be like, nah, you got to ask me before, you can't, don't text anybody on your phone before you ask me. She's going to be happy. She wants to feel like she's in your control if she loves you.
Okay, so notice the contrast here. So Portnoy is so afraid of saying that a woman and a man belong together and that a woman, when she gets married, now belongs to the man sexually in the same way that the man ought to belong to the woman sexually. This is literally Genesis 2:24. Right? For this reason, a man will leave his father and his mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. And Genesis 2:24. So that would be the eternal truth. That is the truth according to every mainstream religion. That would be the thing that you would say. And the reason for that, from an evolutionary biology perspective, is because when a woman joins with a man and they create a baby, the woman is sure of her parentage, but the man is not sure of his parentage. And so...
Yo, L. Simpson in the chat. You guys are like so... Bro, the influx of fucking losers in here is insane, bro. Do you really need to make it so I need to have moderation? Can you guys not handle your red pill rage for 5 seconds? Do you need to look like fucking angry losers all the time? Genuinely, we are supposed to be better than these other platforms. This is just like so... Yikes, bro.
We as a society tend to prefer monogamy, right? This is the evolutionary biological reason why humanity embraced monogamy.
You guys make Ben Shapiro look smart.
Monogamy is because it is the best distribution.
Yo, 0 in the chat right now if you're a normal person and you see how much of a loser there's the incels are taking over this chat.
Of sexual resources. It's from an evolutionary biological perspective, not a moral perspective. That's just evolutionary biology. Brett Weinstein, Heather Heyer talk about it. Right? Heather Heying talk about it. Right? All of this is very well established. When it comes to the morality is that a woman should not be promiscuous and a man should also not be promiscuous. Now, this is the part where Andrew Tate gets the diagnosis right, but he gets the solution wrong. So here is Andrew Tate talking about how women should not be promiscuous. It's bad for them.
Well, a woman could say that same thing if she decided. She could say, I can sleep with multiple men, but my men can't sleep with multiple women if she so choose. We're all free individuals, right?
Yeah, but you wouldn't agree if a woman said that.
I don't think I would personally find that revolting, correct? But there are women who find what I say revolting.
So you're not telling other people what to think. You're just saying how you think.
Yeah, I mean, if I think if a man is not sexually exclusive, it's not the same as if a woman is, because with a woman you have the paternity issue. With a man you don't have a paternity issue. Read the Bible. Every single man had multiple wives. Not a single woman had multiple husbands. It's against the will of God. It's disgusting in the eyes of God himself.
Okay, so again, historically speaking, what Andrew Tate is saying is not wrong. Morally,
but it triggers him.
Reason why church, where we talked about the capacity for change within eternal rules, moves towards monogamy as opposed to polygyny, right, where a man has multiple wives. The reason for that is because the sophisticated arrangement of one man and one woman is the best arrangement. And so it is not good when a woman is promiscuous, and also happens not to be good when a man is promiscuous. Those may not be equivalent in evolutionary biological terms, but that is why eternal morality suggests one man, one woman. So the point that I'm making here is that when the moorings of a society come loose, when the society starts to sort of float, when the iceberg is floating, is no longer moored to anything that keeps it stable, once that happens, the reactions tend to be extremely chaotic. You get an entire movement on the left that is incredibly destructive, and you get a reactive movement that gets a lot of the diagnosis right, but a lot of the diagnosis wrong, right? Gets a lot of diagnosis right and a lot of prescription.
Tell me what point he said that's wrong.
Wrong, right? We have many problems in our society. Those problems continue into the realm of male and female. It encourages bad behavior by women. But then the answer to that is not bad behavior by men. The answer to that is better behavior by women and better behavior by men. This is, so if we're going to have a restoration, we need to have an actual restoration.
All right, Ben Shapiro, that was great. Annoying voice. I can't ban donations, chat. Just laugh at them. Just laugh at the Sims chat. It's exactly what you don't want to be this year. Okay.